All right, I'm excited about this new update from NotebookLM and Google, and I think you'll probably be excited about it too. So now there is a business edition rolling out for this, as well as the ability to customize the audio overview or those kind of AI deep dive podcasts that have become very popular inside of NotebookLM. All right, so give me, I don't know, 7 or 8 minutes. We're going to jump in. We're going to explore what's new. This just came out a couple of minutes ago, so let's go ahead and dive in. Thanks to Josh from Google for clarifying some of this. I asked him earlier today on Twitter. I couldn't find their blog post announcement, so let's just dive in and we'll see what's new, and we'll try it out live. All right, let's do it, y'all. And if you're new here, I guess I should tell you what this is, right? I'm Jordan. This is Everyday AI. We do a daily live stream podcast, free daily newsletter, helping us all learn Gen AI and how we can leverage it. And I think this tool is one of my favorites, NotebookLM, and some of these new updates. So very quickly, let's just go ahead and go over what's new. So first of all is the ability to customize the audio overview podcast. I've already done a full kind of couple breakdowns of NotebookLM and the audio overview. But one kind of downside is like these two AI hosts, which are great. They're so good, but you were kind of just up to whatever they produced. So now you can essentially leave them the equivalent of like custom instructions to go ahead and do on the podcast. So a lot of people were kind of using jailbreaks to do this anyways, right? They were just uploading, one file that just had instructions and kind of told the host what to do. So you could kind of, technically quote unquote jailbreak your way to do this, but now it is a built-in feature. So we're going to test it out, see how the guardrails are, all that. And I'll make sure to put this link to the blog post in this video as well. So one thing you can do here, you kind of saw that this is a GIF. So right here, you're able to customize the audio overview. The other thing that I think is pretty big is now NotebookLM for Business. So you can go ahead and join the pilot. But one thing to point out here, which I'm fine with, but a lot of people are going to be like, oh, bummer, because right now everything in NotebookLM is free. And if I'm being honest, I like NotebookLM and use it way more than Gemini. Even though this is powered by Gemini 1.5, I think people are sleeping on this. This is literally a state-of-the-art model that is grounded, right? So I'll show you what that means, but essentially this only works if you upload your data and your sources, and it only pulls from that. It doesn't pull from, Google's training data. It doesn't pull randomly from, Google on the web. So this piece I think is going to be big, the NotebookLM for Business. So you can go ahead and read a little bit more about what that is on this page, but essentially they're just kind of highlighting some of the benefits, right? So better sales, training and onboarding, right? You can upload your existing training manuals, all of these things, customer support, product development, etc. There's still not a lot of detail just yet on, what is exactly going to separate this business one from the free version. I assume it's just going to be the ability to share and collaborate on different notebooks. But I'm sure that they, after this pilot, there will probably be much more information. So if you want to get access to that, it's actually pretty easy. If you just go to the normal notebook lm.google site, and then you just click business up here in the upper right hand corner. All right, let's dive in and do this live. So here's the thing: you cannot use your old notebooks. So as an example, I use these fairly often. I was doing this the other day for Adobe Max. I did a show on Adobe Max. I was reading a bunch, right? They had a whole conference. So there's so much information out there. So I went in and obviously used NotebookLM, and you can load up an audio overview. So if you're looking for this new feature, you can't use an old notebook. All right. So again, if you want to customize the audio overview, that's the deep dive AI podcast, you can't use an existing notebook. Also, new logo. I like it, by the way. All right, so let's go back. Let's go back to NotebookLM, and we're going to create a new notebook. So I've done plenty of kind of tutorials, but I just want to show you one of the big benefits if you are brand new. All right. So let's just say I don't have any information in here, right? So you have to have information. So I can't just like X out of this and then start using it, right? I can't type to this. I at least have to put something in as a source, right? So I'm just going to put test, right? And then if I just go say, give me a marketing plan, right? It's going to come back and say, no, you didn't give me anything. There's nothing in the sources. So this is why this is kind of like, it's a grounded model, right? With a version of retrieval augmented generation, right? Essentially, it's only going to work off the data that you give it, off the sources that you give it. And the last I checked, it's 25 million words of sources. So you can have up to 50 sources. And I believe each source can be up to 25,000 words. So you can literally just dump all of your information in here. All right. So real quick, let's do this from scratch so we can see these new features. All right. And I'm going to do a little bit of each. So first, I'm going to do a YouTube link. All right. So your YouTube link, it has to be a video that has captions enabled. So I have that. I'm going to insert that. And then you'll see. Okay. I actually just uploaded because normally our captions aren't uploaded. So it says it can't be, the transcript's not available. So it says it takes a couple of hours. That's okay. I'll do something else. So I'm going to go ahead and download this MP3. So this is one of our recent episodes. All right, so I'm going to download an MP3 so you can upload. You can upload an MP3. Like I said, you can do YouTube videos if those YouTube videos have transcripts that are already uploaded. So now I'm going to click the plus add source button. I'm going to go ahead and choose a file. All right, my MP3 is almost done downloading. I didn't know this was dial-up. What's going on with my internet? All right, so let's go ahead and attach that. Here we go. One more time. All right, so I just uploaded about a 45-minute podcast. Just the fact that you can do this out of the box, people are sleeping on this. Like, this is amazing. I'm not uploading a transcript. It is transcribing it live. All right, and then let's go ahead. I'm going to pull a couple different episodes from our website, right? So I'm going to do a couple. Oh, look at this. NotebookLM, the best AI tool you've probably never used. All right, so I'm going to grab a couple recent episodes, and I'm going on here. Let me share this one here. There we go. All right. And there's a lot of text on here. I'm literally just going to copy and paste it all. I'm going to jump back in my notebook here. All right. And I'm going to upload all this text. So I can go down here. Like I said, you can do a YouTube, a link if it has transcripts already uploaded, a website, Google Docs, Google Slides, etc., or just copied text. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to insert my copied text there. And then I'm going to grab one more here. All right, there we go. Copied that text. I'm going to go back in. I'm going to add it as copy text and bam. All right. So we're going to give this just a okay. I don't even need to. It's already done so fast. All right. So you'll see here is my MP3, a 45-minute MP3. And then I just grabbed the transcripts from two different podcast episodes. All right, so now this is brand new. So I can click customize. So it gives you some kind of tips. So it says, you can have it focus on a specific source, right? So what I would probably want to do is I would probably want to go in here and name these sources, because when you just copy and paste text in, it's not actually labeled. So this one here, let's see, that's the top one, I believe. Yes, so the top one there for me is my NotebookLM. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the dots. I'm going to rename source, and I'm going to say NotebookLM. All right, and I'm going to click save. And then this one here, this other pasted text, this is ChatGPT advanced mode. Oh, I don't want to delete it. I want to rename it. All right, so I'm going to call this advanced voice mode. All right. So now, okay, I'm going to go back here. I'm going to click my notebook guide. I'm going to click customize. All right. So now I can give it some direction. So generally, if you just did this generate button, it would be great still, right? Like, I don't even think this was technically needed, right? It wasn't like a needed feature. Nothing was broken, but I think it's great. And we're going to really see, we're going to do one example here, and we're going to see how we can push these hosts. So I'm going to say, start. I'm going to say, please start by talking about notebook, the notebook NotebookLM source. I'm going to say, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it a little more structured. So I'm going to say this. So I'm going to say, please start with a funny intro about the state of AI and how fast it is. All right. And then 2, I'm going to say talking about the NotebookLM source. Then I'm going to say 3, going over the episode 361 agents source. And then I'm going to say 4, I'm going to say go the AVM source. So again, I'm just going to see if I can just steer it, right? Can I have it start with something funny? Can I have it go through each source in order? And then I'm going to say an outro that references pirates, but also is relevant to the source material. All right. So we'll see if this works. I'm really pushing it to the boundaries. This is the first time I'm doing it. This is unedited, unscripted. Let's click generate. All right. So I'm guessing it might take some extra time. I'm checking right here. So generally you wouldn't get these options, right? You would just click generate. It would take a look at all of your sources, and it would essentially create anywhere between a 6 to 12 minutes podcast conversation between these two AI podcast hosts. But like I said, one of the big new features here is the ability to customize this kind of AI podcast. So let's go ahead. I'm going to click pause on this video. Normally I don't, pause these, but I'm guessing NotebookLM, they just released this. I'm guessing a lot of people are going to be using it, but I will let you know exactly how long it took. All right, so it was actually pretty quick. It only took about 5 minutes, and it created about a 4-minute podcast, which is interesting because, like I said, before you could customize, I would say almost always it was around 6 to 12 minutes, depending on how much source information you started with. So a couple of other new updates that are just new for today. You can listen to the podcast and keep working on other things in the background. So that is a new thing. And then this has always been here, but I love being able to change the playback speed. So let's go ahead and listen. I might go like 1.2, 1.5, because I kind of want to listen to most of this to see if it hit it. All right. So let's
AI art feels like a million years ago.
Coding so fast.
Now everyone is talking about AI agents. So we are diving into all of that today.
Yeah, it's wild. Like we went from self-driving cars being the future to now your computer can actually do stuff.
And it's not just like writing you a limerick or whatever.
Right.
It's interacting with all this information.
Totally.
So let's talk NotebookLM. It feels like Google just kind of.
Okay, so I don't know if it really got a funny intro. Let's listen to that again.
AI art feels like a million years ago.
Coding so fast.
Now everyone is talking about AI agents. So we are diving into all of that today.
Yeah, it's wild. Like we went from self-driving.
All right, maybe. I mean, it was like an attempted joke, a little chuckle. So we'll see. And then it looks like next they're going into they're going into NotebookLM first. So I'm cranking up the speed. Let's listen.
Cars being the future to now your computer can actually do stuff.
And it's not just like writing you a limerick or whatever.
Right.
It's interacting with all this information.
Totally.
So let's talk NotebookLM. It feels like Google just kind of dropped this research paper and everyone freaked out.
Yeah.
What's the big deal?
So imagine if you had a digital assistant that had read everything you wanted to know about a topic, like 25 million words across all these documents, websites, even YouTube videos. NotebookLM can synthesize all of that, pull out insights, create summaries.
It's like having a research assistant who never sleeps.
Exactly.
All right, now you'll
Yes,
see.
and it's not just summarizing. It
I
does
can
timelines,
continue to work
FAQs,
and
pulls out
listen
key
at the
quotes
same
and
time.
cites the sources.
Wow.
It's a huge deal.
So that's awesome for researchers, students, journalists. But what about everybody else? How does this translate to the real world?
Think about like being in a meeting and taking notes or going through tons of emails. NotebookLM can be that second brain to help you process it all.
So it's like a super note taker and organizer.
Yeah.
Sign me up. But is there a catch? This is Google we are talking about.
Well, right now it's free to use. You just need a Google account, but you can't just ask it anything. You have to give it source material to work from.
All right, so you saw there, new feature. You can continue to listen to the podcast and continue to work on your notebook.
It's like that friend who is brilliant but needs a little direction.
Yeah, exactly. And then it can do its thing.
Interesting. And this could be used with these other AI agents we were hearing about.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so now it's going from, I thought I had it go from NotebookLM to agents to advanced voice mode. So let's go ahead and listen to the rest of this, see if it finishes it. And then it should give us an outro, something about a pirate. So we'll see if that actually worked.
How so?
So imagine an AI agent that can use NotebookLM to also access this huge knowledge base.
Okay, so now we're talking.
Oh.
But let's move from gathering information to taking action.
Okay.
What are we seeing in terms of agents that can actually do things?
Things are getting interesting. We're starting to see AI agents that can work with our digital stuff in new ways, like in podcasting. Episode 361, they do podcast stuff, just came out with new AI-powered tools. They're calling them AI agents.
AI for podcasting, what can they do?
Well, they can listen to your audio and automatically make transcripts, show notes, and even social media posts. It's like having an assistant do all the stuff you don't want to.
Right. That's super useful, especially for people just getting started.
Yeah.
But is it really AI? What makes them different?
So they use the same tech as NotebookLM, so they can actually understand what your podcast is about. Like they can pull out key themes, interesting quotes, and even suggest hashtags and stuff.
Oh, wow. So they get the meaning, not just the words.
Yeah, and episode 361 is even using AI to help make the podcast itself.
Wait, AI can write my podcast?
Not exactly write it, but it can give you ideas for topics or help you with storylines, stuff like that.
That's kind of wild. It's like having a co-host who is always brainstorming.
Yeah, and that brings up a lot of questions about what this means for creators.
For sure. Let's talk about another company, AVM.
Mhm.
They're doing autonomous AI agents, whatever that means.
Yeah, they are really pushing things. Their agents can make decisions with almost no human help.
Whoa. Okay. So what can an autonomous agent do that a regular one can't?
Imagine you own a small business and you can't keep up with social media. An AI agent could do your posts, but an autonomous agent could also look at how people are reacting and actually change the strategy based on that
It's like having a social media manager who never sleeps.
and never takes a day off. So you can focus on the bigger picture stuff.
That sounds amazing, but kind of scary too. What if it goes wrong?
Well, they still have rules that people set up, so it's not like the robots are taking over yet, but we do need to be careful.
It's about finding the balance, right?
Exactly. We need to make sure AI is used for good.
It's like those old time explorers going to new places. They had to be brave, but also careful.
And they needed the right tools to navigate. We need those for AI too.
So we are going from AI that helps us to AI that makes decisions for us.
It is a pretty big deal.
It feels like every day there's something new about AI. How do we even keep up?
It is a lot. The most important thing is to be curious, but also skeptical. Ask questions. Don't just believe everything you hear.
So we should be involved in shaping how this all works, not just letting it happen.
All right, so a couple problems with the last source, but let's go ahead. So if you remember when I gave it some customizations, I told it to end with something like a pirate, but keep it relevant. So let's see if they do that there.
Exactly. We need to understand what's going on, talk about the issues, and push for policies that make sense.
It's like those explorers. They didn't just sail off without a plan.
They had to figure out how to navigate, and we need to do that with AI.
So as we wrap up, the big takeaway is that the future of AI is not decided.
We are all figuring it out as we go.
Be bold, be curious, but be careful.
The future's out there. We just got to find it.
That's it for this deep dive on AI agents. We will see you next time.
Okay, so mixed results there. Even on the end, they kind of did it. What did they say? They said explorers sailing. So they kind of talked about pirates. Let's listen to that again.
And how this all works, not just letting it happen.
Exactly. We need to understand what's going on, talk about the issues, and push for policies that make sense.
It's like those explorers. They didn't just sail off without a plan.
They had to figure out how to navigate, and we need to do that with AI.
So as we
So kind of, right? I wasn't super overt. I said, make, do something with a pirate, but keep it relevant. So I guess it kind of found that. But, a couple things, and I'll just give very quick feedback because I know this is turning into a longer video. It actually struggled a little bit, which I was not expecting. Maybe in giving users a little more leeway to guide the AI podcast hosts, it actually took them off track. Because, one big thing that I saw as an example is I labeled this source AVM. And then in the podcast, they were talking about AVM like it was a company, and they weren't even really going into the contents of this. And I did say, I believe I said like, hey, you have to check the source AVM. So one thing I wish you could see is to still be able to see the instructions. Let's see if we can. No. So once you enter the instructions, which is fine, that's not a huge deal. You kind of lose them, but it did look like it didn't even really read this source. Whereas I've done dozens, literally dozens of these AI overviews, and I love them. And I haven't really had that issue yet. So this could be maybe a small, a small kind of bug that the Google team might want to take a look at. But yeah, even on, it did a not as good of a job as normal of actually going through this source content, because this AVM source here was actually about ChatGPT's advanced voice mode. And you'll see in the context of the audio overview, it was really just talking about AVM as if it was an autonomous agent company, but I didn't reference that anywhere. This is literally just about ChatGPT's advanced voice mode. There's some pros and some cons here. Again, this was just released. The NotebookLM team has been killing it in terms of getting updates out, squashing bugs, making improvements over the last 2 months. It's been pretty astonishing, actually. So this looks like it might be something that they're going to tighten up. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend using this new feature the customizing yet for anything super important. I'll probably do an update in a week or two once this has been updated. But right now, actually, although it's great to be able to customize and steer this voice, at least in my first test here, we're going to do a lot more testing, don't worry. But in my first test here, it kind of took it into a different direction that was not 100% accurate and factual, which you don't want, because I think right now that is the biggest advantage of using NotebookLM is it's grounded. It only works in your data. And previously, I didn't run into any of these issues when using the audio overviews. Sure, I think the AI host sometimes took a little bit of leeway, whereas I think here, it almost allowed me to steer it too far, and it really got away from the data in my sources. I'm guessing that could have been avoided if I would have been a little more pointed in my instructions, right? But I kind of did it like the average person would do it. If I was doing this for myself, for something that I needed for, quote unquote, production for myself, for a client that wasn't just a tutorial, I would have been much more, kind of taking a much more structured, quote unquote, prompt engineering stance in those instructions. But I wanted to do it just like an average person, because I think that's where so many people are going to get huge value out of NotebookLM, because it's grounded. It's grounded in your sources, in your files, which I think makes it great for beginners, because for the most part, it avoids hallucinations much better than even its big brother Gemini, much better than ChatGPT, much better than Perplexity, much better than Claude. I think it's probably one of the most reliable and impressive generative AI systems that I've used in the past 5 years, and I've used thousands. So this, although I do like this new ability to steer kind of the deep dive, I'm actually a little bit taken aback that it didn't fully stick to the source material. So I'll do another review. I hope this was helpful. If so, please let me know in the comments. And also, while you're at it, please go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for the free daily newsletter, and we'll see you back for another AI in 5 or AI in 22. Sorry, this one was longer, y'all.